they turned out that the mushrooms didn't take any water on to the weight. So since that point, I have washed my mushrooms. I don't really enjoy eating dirt. So there you go. Another tip that Alton likes to use when it comes to mushrooms is that if you are not wanting to do a lot of knife skills, you can use an egg slicer to be able to cut the mushrooms really evenly. So I don't actually have one anymore, but I used to use my mushrooms that way. Oh, Phyllis, you love Alton too. Did you guys see that he's going to be hosting Iron Chef, and it looks like it's going to be on Netflix, which I'm super excited about because I don't have Food Network, and I'm just really happy to be able to watch Iron Chef and anything with Alton. He recently was in town, but unfortunately I wasn't able to go, but I was kind of sad about that because he's kind of finishing up the era of Good Eats. I would have loved to have met him in person. If you ever have a chance to see him on stage, it's really fun. Right before COVID, I had that opportunity. Got to see Anthony Bourdain too, right before he passed, which was interesting because there was a lot of PETA people protesting at his show in the front row. That's San Francisco for you.
I am going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen so people can get a better view of what you are doing.
Awesome. And I can also angle down so you can see my cutting board. So I'm just trying to slice these as thinly as I can. If you're cooking with chicken, this will be the time that you are cutting that chicken up and tossing it in the flour. If you're using tofu, you would be using cornstarch to.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What are we learning how to cook today? I'm sorry. I just got in here. I'm really just trying to learn. What are we cooking today?
Creamy tomato basil chicken pasta, page 20 in your Silk and Saunders journal.
Ooh. Okay.
But I'm subbing out my mushrooms and chickpeas for the chicken because I don't like touching raw chicken.
Okay. Understandable.
So getting through this, I'm also going to go ahead and prep my garlic. You know that sometimes I will use the Cheaters version that is in the freezer section, but today, since we're all doing this together and it does give better flavor, I am going to chop that garlic from scratch. How's everybody doing, Maya? Do we see anybody cooking with us today?
I think Angela is cooking. Yeah, she says yeah. Thumbs up. I don't think I see anybody else cooking yet, but that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to be cooking. You can just be watching and getting tips.
Absolutely.
I'm more of a visual learner, so then I can do it by myself.
Yeah, some people like to watch through the whole prep time and watch the cooking, and then they cook on their own later, which is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
All right, getting started on those bulbs of garlic. It's calling for 3, which is quite a few garlic. I think I'm going to go ahead and do 2 cloves of garlic because I do not appreciate when it is super garlicky. And I am going to use the back of my knife to remove that skin so it pops off pretty easy. This one is not wanting to crack open as well, so I'm gonna have to add a little weight on it. This one seems to have a little bit of a blemish, but I think it will be okay. Got my compost bin. You know, if you're a fan of Rachel Ray, she likes to keep a bowl for all her discards. I definitely did that before moving to California, where they actually come and pick up our compost, which is awesome. They pick it up on garbage day, just like anything else.
Nice.
Yeah, it's super convenient. And then it has little venting on top, so you don't end up with any of that smell, which is nice as well.
Yeah, and so we have one of those, but we have to compost outside, so we have to run the little composter out to the big compost bin
Yeah,
a couple times a week.
Same here.
Yeah, but it works. It works.
Hey, better than nothing, right?
That's right. Better than just throwing it away.
Do you ever add worms to your compost?
No worms in there. Just regular old compost. It works pretty well. I'm actually pretty. It's the kind of bin that spins. So you just kind of give it a couple spins. Yeah, that was one of our pandemic quarantine purchases. I was like, we've talked about composting. I'm going to buy a compost bin, and we're going to start doing that.
I used to do when I was in a portable, when I was teaching, I guess it was 3rd grade, we actually did have it, and we would have the little worm farm. And it really is interesting how hot the compost gets. We would take its temperature when it's breaking down. Just really fun and interesting. And it didn't stink. It was just like ultimately a bin, kind of like a Tupperware bin, but a big guy. So I'm trying to cut this as evenly as I can. I'm not super picky about it, but I am going to run my knife through to try to get this into a minced texture. Usually I use a microplane, but today I'm going to use my knife skills. Everybody's quiet in the chat. Oh, worms. Yes, worms. They poop out fertilizer ultimately. Yeah, I know we can use worms here in Colorado, but you have to kind of you have to be a little more careful because it does freeze and get pretty cold. So I was like, I don't want to mess with trying to keep worms alive outside for the composter. So I was like, I'm just going to get the rolling bin. That's a good idea. I hadn't even thought of that. In Texas, we didn't have that many freezing days, but that would have been bad. Though I will admit that I did have some snafus my first year teaching 1st grade. I decided I was going to get mice because I thought it would be so cool to have the mice run around in their balls for the kids. And I made sure, like you do at the pet store, that they were both females. And one kept getting fatter and fatter. And I should have put 2 and 2 together, and I didn't. And she had babies. And the way we discovered was mom was eating the babies. Traumatized some 1st graders for life, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm all like, there was also a little bit of an issue one time where it was spring break and we were hatching butterflies and I hadn't moved them. I didn't understand the lifespan to the container. And so the wings dried broken. Yeah. I really do believe that they should not let people teach until they're about 25. Because I was like, I didn't understand all of the things. So I'm going to add some butter. I really like this one. I get it from Imperfect. It is a European style. This one is unsalted. I prefer the salted for cooking, but this is what they actually had in stock. If you have not tried European butter, it is delicious. And I would also say, if you have an opportunity, a lot of times at Whole Foods, you can get New Zealand butter and it is to die for. So I'm going to use a big chunk of butter. I'm going to move you guys over. I'm going to add some olive oil to bring the smoke temperature up. Then I'm going to add those mushrooms and garlic. I'm going to add the mushrooms first because they're going to take a little bit longer. So let me move you guys over. And this is my house. This is like me and, all of the things. I'm not a professional chef by any means, just a home cook. So do you know, Karen, because they were kind of talking, you can buy the pre-minced garlic. Mm-hmm. What the conversion of that is, like how much per clove? Because I saw Evangeline was saying she had used 1 tablespoon per clove and felt like that was too much. And then somebody else had said they thought it was more like a teaspoon. Yeah, because I'll show you with my cheaters. And Malika had a good response. I always measure garlic with my heart. Oh, that's nice. So these pop out, and then this is equivalent to 1 clove. And I would say that it is about a teaspoon. And you can always taste it and add a little bit more if you need to. Measure garlic with my heart. We love that. Okay, so I'm gonna add some olive oil to my pan. And I'm using a cooking quality olive oil, not one that's really good. Also imperfect. I like it because it is local, and olive oil really does go bad, or it loses some of its taste after about 6 months. So I like to go as local as I can. I am going to be using a non-stick pan here. It's a Le Creuset. Is that how you say it? I love these pans, totally worth the money. One thing I like bought for or registered for when as a newlywed almost 20 years ago was like pots and pans and knives and such. And that to me is the best thing ever. Definitely worth.
Yeah, Candy says, I can't chat much because I'm doing the raw chicken right now. Yeah, don't be touching anything with the raw chicken hands. We don't want contamination all over the place.
That's another reason I am using mushrooms and chickpeas. The cleanliness of it just really gets to me. I'm going to let this go ahead and melt all the way down before I add my mushrooms. I'm going to add my mushrooms, and I'm not going to stir them so they do get a little bit of color on them. And then I'll add that garlic in towards the end of it. And then we'll pull the mushrooms out, and then I'll add more butter in to start with those tomatoes and such. I don't mind eating chicken. I just don't like touching raw chicken.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of having to do a lot with cooking. Like, I don't mind if you can just kind of like open the package and pop it straight into the pan. You don't have to do a lot with it. But when you're having to like cut it and all that stuff, I'm always like, I don't want to touch anything, and trying to get it in. And it's, yeah, I mean, you know, raw meat's not a whole lot of fun anyway. So
I definitely thought about using some plant-based chicken, but most of what you can find is breaded, and I didn't think that would lend itself. I mean, I guess I could have tried that. Maybe next time I will. Has anybody tried any of those?
Like the plant-based?
Yeah.
I haven't tried any of those. I don't know how those are.
Evangeline says she uses gloves for her chicken. That's smart. I'm going to add a little salt and pepper because we want to build the flavor as we go. Oh, it smells good already. There's something about sauteed mushrooms. They're just so good.
A dad that can cook is very unique. That's what I'm trying to be like him.
There you go.
Absolutely. You know, my husband, when we met I guess it's been 22 years ago, he did not cook. Like, he could cook, he could feed himself, right? He wasn't like, you know, always having to order out and stuff, but he didn't really cook. And so he thought the way to impress me would be to learn how to cook. And so he bought cookbooks, and of course, this was 22 years ago, so it wasn't quite like there was all the classes and stuff you can take online, but yeah, he figured it out. But he definitely made some interesting mistakes. Like, he didn't really quite know the difference between the tablespoon, teaspoon abbreviation.
I don't either. I think in my culture, you know what I'm saying? You just, you know what I'm saying, off the bottle and just, hey, taste it. If it's good, it's good. You feel me? You don't need a little tablespoon, but you know.
So he had made this, it was some sort of like Mexican potatoes, and it had like all these different kinds of pepper. And so it was supposed to be calling for teaspoons, but he was putting in tablespoons. And I remember I was eating it and I was like, well, this is really good, but oh my, it's a little spicy. It's a little spicy. And then he's like, well, I followed the recipe. I was like, well, let me see the recipe. And then I looked to see like which measuring spoon was dirty. And then I'm like, sweetheart, let's look at difference between tablespoon and teaspoon. It was very funny.
I've had that happen a lot with college age staff that worked for me at the summer camp, that I would have to really explain the difference between a teaspoon and tablespoon and show them what the abbreviation was.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know. So I am giving these a little bit of a stir, just enough to separate them. Can y'all hear my car starting underneath the garage?
Huh.
Okay. It's a big purr, so I can feel the floor shake. And I'm like, I wonder if you can hear that or not.
Oh, that's funny. No,
And now I'm gonna use the side of my knife. My husband is a pretty good cook, but the way he became a good cook is he would pick one thing at a time, and we would eat it and eat it and eat it until he perfected it. So it was like homemade pizza dough or chili.
Oh, your sound just got garbled, Karen. Oh, she dropped off. Oh no.
Sorry.
Hey, Karen, I don't know if you can hear me.
Lost her.
She's got the one is still, I think she just needs to, oh, she's putting Snickers up there, but we can't hear. I think her phone, because she always has two cameras. She's got the phone and then she's got the other.
Karen, you're still muted on your laptop.
Yep. Oh, did Snickers knock over the phone?
Wow, Snickers got some hops.
Okay, so I'm switching over.
Okay.
I don't know what happened with my phone. So my view isn't as good. But at least you can hear me in the meantime. And let me see if I can start that Zoom again. Technology is weird that way, right? Sometimes it just doesn't want to work the way you want it to. Okay. Recording in progress.
Oh, still can't hear you. I think the phone might be muted.
Okay, now we're good. We're cooking.
Okay, let's see if I can find you back up here to spot. There we go. All right.
Hey Karen, if you were the chef, like, what would your chef name be?
Ooh, that's an interesting question.
That is a good question.
If I was a chef, what would my chef be? I'm gonna have to ponder that a little bit, but I would say something that would be inspired by women in the past. I don't know if anybody has been watching the HBO series on Julia Child. If you have HBO, it is, and you like to cook, which is why you're here, it is really good. It's a lot. It's very heartwarming and well done. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this guy out. You know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna throw my tomatoes in. I had a white shirt on earlier and I switched it. So these are my tomatoes. I decided to get just a color variation because I think it's pretty, but ultimately they're probably gonna just turn all kind of the same color here. I love using cherry tomatoes as a simple sauce for cooking. You know, that TikTok feta one is a beautiful pasta sauce, or the one that you use from Trader Joe's with the artichoke spinach. That's a good one to impress the girls with. It takes literally no experience to be able to make.
Miss Karen?
Yeah.
Would you recommend that cooking could help me get a girlfriend? Just,
Absolutely.
do women love cooks?
Yes, absolutely. Guaranteed. Guaranteed the best way to a man or woman's heart is food.
I was gonna say, it's always good to cook for somebody else.
So even if I'm ugly, if I can cook, it's fine?
Yep. You treat a girl well, you take her flowers, you cook, guaranteed success. Let's see what we got going up the chat. I saw
So whoever is new here, we're making pasta, chicken, but you said
it's a creamy tomato basil chicken pasta.
Yes.
Are you writing stuff down there for what you're gonna?
Yes, I am. I can't wait to cook this later tonight.
Can I get the recipe?
That sounds scrumptious.
So it doesn't matter what color tomatoes you get, right?
No, it doesn't matter what color your tomatoes are. I just like the variety, and I find that this variety is a little sweeter. I am gonna add a little more pepper and salt here. I did forget to mention that I am heating up my water in my
Not gonna lie,
pot.
that was a
I
lot of
did buy
salt.
fresh pasta, so it's gonna be a lot quicker to cook. But yeah, I would not necessarily cut these guys. What you're looking for is, you can see the skin is starting to peel off of this guy. it's gonna pop open and it's gonna release its juices. So that's what it is that you're looking for. I'm actually gonna turn this heat up just a tad so I can get this stuff
What would be a good alternative?
sauce.
What would be a good alternative if you don't like tomatoes? Would there be a good alternative?
Just eliminate the tomatoes and it'd be like an Alfredo sauce. You might like, if you want to add maybe asparagus or peas into that Alfredo sauce would be delicious. Because that's ultimately what we're doing, is basically baking something that is very, very akin to a Alfredo. You can start to see that they're starting to kind of wrinkle up, and that's that telltale sign that they're going to start popping open and releasing their juices. I am going to go ahead and open up my can of chickpeas, and I'm going to add them into the mix as well. I personally prefer doing dried chickpeas because I think the canned one smells like dog food. But you know, I didn't have time this morning, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to drain these to get some of the sodium off, give them a little rinse. I'll take you guys with me over to my sink. Little drain here. A little rinse. And if you do not know and you are vegan, you can use chickpea juice to be able to make something that's akin to a meringue. You can use it in mixed drinks or in cooking, which is just a fun little tip. Let's see how this is going. They're starting to pop a little bit, but they're not broken down totally yet. See how this orange one right here is just starting to split open? That's what I'm wanting from all of them. Throwing my chickpeas in. They don't need to be cooked, they just need to be warmed through. Turn up the heat here. Make sure that you salt your water for your pasta, because that's the only time you're able to add flavor to your pasta, is when it is cooking. Get my can opener away.
It's looking very colorful.
I like having a lot of colors in mine. And I'm even going to be plating with some microgreens that I grew. I'll show you those real quick. It's kind of interesting. I can't grow anything at all. This company is a local California company. It's Hamama. And you literally just soak these in water and it will grow different types of greens. I'll show you what they kind of look like. So it comes in a package like this, and you can kind of see the seeds, and then it has like cork, and then you just soak it in the water, and then they just grow, and you can keep feeding it water. And there's kale. This one, I think this one is cabbage. This one's broccoli. There's wheatgrass. They're all different kinds. I don't know. It's a fun little way to feel very spring-like, or in the middle of winter, to add some color and fun into your food.
Phyllis asked, is the basil whole leaves or chopped?
I am going to, depending on the size of your basil, you could use small leaves. If you have that big sweet basil, some of the leaves are like this, unlike in the picture. Mine, I got the living one. It's pretty small, like this guy right here. It's okay for me to be able to use those kind of as is, but you can always run your knife through it as well. And there is a difference between sweet basil, Italian basil, and like Thai basil. They do have a different flavor. So make sure when you are cooking Italian that you are getting that sweet if you want it to taste like what you get in a restaurant. Okay. So I'm going to let this go for another minute or so because some of these are still not quite broken down. And then I'm going to be adding in my heavy cream and all of that. Oh, Julia, you have heard of these? I'm going to say this is probably my worst turnout. You can see I should not have peeled these. I should have left them covered until they started to come up. I think it was kale that I grew last time, and they looked like sunflower sprouts, and they were wonderful. And I used them for a couple of weeks. They were fabulous.
Cool.
Looking at the, oh, Candy's still working on her protein. Well, it's a lot easier when you just throw a can in versus like something with chicken.
Yeah, I mean, and you could definitely buy, depending on the chicken that you buy, you could buy some that are, already kind of the chopped up, the chicken tenders that cook a little bit quicker, or you could probably even get some of the pre-cooked stuff that's in the frozen. If you don't really want to mess with chicken too much in the kitchen, you can get the pre-cooked frozen chicken in the bag and just kind of heat those up.
Katie had a really good suggestion that if you were trying to throw this together for like a family weeknight meal, to get a rotisserie chicken and just, shred it into the pieces and throw it in right towards the end to warm it through.
Yeah, say Laura asked about cooking the chicken in a pressure cooker. And since I do not have one of those, I cannot answer that question.
You definitely can cook it in it. I would just Google it and then scroll down to the bottom as far as like what the time you need is versus the other. And I think there probably would need to be some sort of liquid in it. I do use my Instapot a lot for making like curries and such. And that's one of the few times I actually do eat chicken occasionally, is if my husband makes butter chicken. It's delicious.
I've used the saute function on the Instant Pot, and then I like let it pressure cook in there. It's kind of like slow cooked, so it's possible.
You have to experiment, I think.
Totally. I mean, I typically make like chicken tinga tacos sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Instant Pot. So I always try to find a recipe online because I never know the timings.
My best meals are like when I'm like, oh, I have asparagus.
Yeah.
I have peas and I have Parmesan. You throw it into Google and then stuff comes up, and it's usually the best food ever.
Oh,
so, okay. I'm going to be adding my chicken broth in. I'm not using chicken broth. I am using vegetable stock, and let's see how much of it I am using. You're getting a close up of my pores as we speak. 1 cup. I'm going to add it in first because I feel like that's going to be safer than adding cream right directly into the pot, because you don't want cream to get super hot. And I had a real hard choice that I decided I was going to go with Emerald's vegetable stock. We'll see how it is. All the other ones were unsalted. Emerald was one of my very first cooking shows that I did like to watch. I actually, when I was in college, got to, because I grew up in the Houston area, I got to go to one of his restaurants when he was super big in New Orleans. And I was just 21 and I was so young and had no idea what it is I was doing. So I ordered at this really expensive, fancy restaurant a Long Island iced tea because I didn't know any other drink because I was in college.
Sure,
so
sounds good. Sure, tea. I like iced tea.
Right. Well, I knew it was alcoholic, but I didn't understand that what I was getting at the bar, by the college, I'm trying to see how much, I'm just going to eyeball this. I didn't understand that like when fancy restaurants make Long Island iced teas, they use like 3 to 6 shots of liquor in it. Not, maybe a shot. So let's just say it was a very interesting ride back to Mississippi. And we had to go over that really, really long bridge with no bathroom. Fortunately, we were in my mom's minivan, and let's just say that the Casino Harrah's had a bucket and it was used that night.
Oh, no.
Not my finest hour. But
Long Island iced teas are the worst. I think I've had too many of those as well.
Okay, so I am going to add the heavy cream. You could definitely use whole milk or something like that. How much cream am I adding? 1.5 cups. Yum. So if you are in the California area, Strauss is one of the absolute best. I'm going to drop my temperature down so that this doesn't get all gross. They are a wonderful, wonderful company. Their product is super, super top notch. It's actually what was recommended to me when I was going through my cheesemonger class. And it is so thick that look at this. I had to break the cream off the top to be able to pour it out. That's insane.
That's very thick cream.
Oh my God, that's good. This is why I'm not vegan.
Carolyn said she works
in the chat. What's going on in that chat?
So Carolyn said she works in Italy in the summers, and when they make Long Island's, they add every different liquor as a full shot. And I think how many different liquors are there in there? I don't remember. There's a lot. Be careful with Long Island iced teas.
There's a lot, yeah. And I think that's what happened to me is I had, multiple shots, and I was a little thing and didn't know.
And then we have some folks using the dried basil instead of the fresh. Do you think they need to use a different amount?
Yes, fresh basil. Dried basil is more concentrated. You're going to use less dried than you would use fresh. Definitely.
Oops, don't listen to my advice.
As Monica was saying, she uses more.
Well, taste it and then go from there.
But
I'm not a young living rep or anything like that. Though I do enjoy cooking with their oils sometimes. So this is a black pepper. And so I'm gonna add like a couple of drops. It's very concentrated. They even talk about just using a toothpick dipped in, but I do enjoy the flavors. It's great to go in waters and such to flavor, to make things just taste better. Okay, my water is boiling. I do have fresh pasta. This is gonna be like 3 minutes to go time. So fresh pasta is awesome. I do like to make my own pasta, and I thought about doing it for the social, but we use our KitchenAid and a little extruder, and it works beautifully, but it is very, very loud. So I didn't want to subject you guys to that, so I bought it. But if you have a KitchenAid and you want a fun toy, it's so good. I think it's in here.
I'll say we have a KitchenAid, but I don't think we ever got the pasta.
So yeah, it hooks up and you put this into the little thing and then it will extrude it and then you just cut it into whatever shapes and you can change this disc out to make all different kinds of pastas. Give this guy a stir. Make a mess. I'm very lucky. Our cleaning ladies come every other Thursday, and whenever I know I'm doing a social, I refuse to cook Friday night so the kitchen stays clean.
That's smart. Very smart. Very smart.
Yeah. I didn't set the timer for this, so I'm just going to kind of keep looking at it, and then I'm just going to let this simmer for a bit. And when I get that pasta out, I'm going to start grating the Parmesan in and start plucking those basil leaves. I'm going to grab a colander here. This is definitely not an hour and a half cooking social. Sorry, but we can chat afterwards.
Did you talk about because you would use the dried chickpeas a couple months ago?
I do prefer the dried chickpeas. I like to cook them in my Instapot.
With the how do you do that with the dried chickpeas?
You just add water and then pressure cook it for whatever it says when you Google it online.
Got it.
All right, so I prefer my pasta al dente. It's almost there. Almost, not quite. This guy is starting to simmer. This is gonna be delicious, guys. And my husband's not gonna be here to eat it, so I guess it means I eat all of it.
So this would probably be good to make some leftovers too, right?
Yes, I just would, if I'm gonna do this for leftovers, I would not add the pasta into the skillet.
Right.
That tastes good. That black pepper came through. And I am using the good Parmesan. We talked about that the last social. It is not domestic, it is from Italy, and it does have that marker on it. If you've never seen someone break open a wheel of Parmesan, it is really cool. Google it. I had the opportunity to be able to split it open when I was training as a cheesemonger, which I became a fitness instructor instead because I knew that I would eat and drink all the time instead of exercise.
Yeah, you got to trade off, right?
Total trade-off. I'm gonna run this under some cold water to keep it from overcooking. And don't forget, when you are using pasta and you are making a sauce, I didn't do it this time because the recipe didn't call for it, but it is awesome to absolutely add that pasta water to whatever sauce that you're making, like if you're making a carbonara, so that it does coat the pasta. And I think no, I'm not gonna add more chili flakes. My husband can do his own chili flakes. So I'm gonna start, he can tolerate it, it sends me into a coughing fit. And so I'm going to use my big microplane. I'm just going to grate it straight in. And it says about a half a cup, but we'll see. I'm just going to go to taste.
I feel like I measure Parmesan cheese with my heart as well. Like with the garlic, I measure cheese with my heart.
Absolutely.
The poor, when the waiter comes over the table and is like, tell me when to stop. And I'm like, okay, but you're going to be here a while.
Funny enough, when they're doing it like an Olive Garden, it's not Parmesan.
Right.
It's Reggiano, which I didn't know for
years. Do you
years.
think, is that because it's cheaper, or is that because it keeps longer? Or why do you think that is, that they don't use the true Parmesan, even though that's what they say it is?
Probably, my guess is price.
No, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because both of them are hard cheeses. They will both keep for a really long time. And, there's nothing wrong with getting domestic Parmesan either. But I figure, if I'm going to do it with you guys, I'm going to do it right.
I would say this is Karen's excuse to spend money to get the good stuff. I have to show them this good stuff, right? I have to have all the high quality ingredients.
Yeah, like right at the moment, I do have domestic Parmesan in my fridge that like I use all the time, but I splurged out on this. It's not thickening quite yet. I'm gonna give it a taste and then go by my heart with that Parmesan. I mean, is there really ever too much Parmesan? Let's just go a little more.
Know that you can have too much Parmesan.
I agree. It's also just going to thicken the sauce up a little bit. And then, of course, you can always definitely garnish with your Parmesan too. And then I'm going to start adding those basil leaves. Since mine are very small leaves, I'm just going to throw them in because they're tiny. How's everybody doing with their cooking?
I definitely see some wine being poured in a couple. I think Angela had some wine, which is absolutely fine. Amanda's got some wine.
When I get done and I played, I picked up a nice wine. It is a Viognier blend with Chablis, I think maybe. I was looking for a straight Viognier because you want with this heavy cream sauce, it is traditional to use a white wine, though there is no judgment if you use red, but you want something acidic to cut the richness of the sauce. So an acid white is definitely the way to go.
So Lisa's asking for a good some suggestions for non-alcoholic wine if she is pregnant.
Oh, I don't know about non-alcoholic wine besides like the stuff that you can just grab from like Sutter Homes and such. And when my mom was going through chemo, we would toast with that. But I will say that there are some really fun mixers to make cocktails with that are non-alcoholic, and it makes you feel like you're making a real drink or cocktail. And the ones that I have used is from Seedlip. You can get them from Amazon, and you'll actually see them in like high quality bars too. And they'll give you different recipes, and you can mix up a mocktail with it. And it does taste better than if you were just using some sort of juice, bitters, and sparkling water, something along those lines. I cut back on my alcohol pretty frequently based on my acid reflux, how much I'm coughing. And so that's the way that I can kind of like deal with it, is by kind of mixing up a cocktail, because it makes me feel like a grown-up. It's the ritual of it. Like I come home from work and I really enjoy the ritual, pouring myself a glass or a cocktail or something along those lines. Though I will say the seed lip probably is not low calorie either. So you're still getting those calories.
But that's okay.
Oh, yes. Laura, I was going to say there is a tequila substitute. I have not tried it. If anyone has, let me know. Oh, yeah. And candied garlic does. It's like sauteing onions and garlic. Both of them always just smell delicious. I don't know how much basil this was. I'm just kind of going through it. Some of this I picked up at the grocery store earlier this week, and some of it's already kind of not in its best form. So I don't want to use it if it's not perfect quality. I think that's probably good. All right. I'm going to heat this up just a little bit more because it's supposed to, oh, was I supposed to put the basil just on top? No, add the fresh basil. I'm adding it on top as well. So I guess I'll pick off a couple more leaves and rip them up. When you are doing fresh basil, a lot of people will use one of those rollers.
Oh, yeah.
Because it does break up the cells. And so they do turn brown around the edges really fast. So you want to definitely cut it up pretty close to serving time if you don't want any discoloration. All right. I guess it's about time to plate. I'm also going to use some of my microgreens for that as well. You can see that. Oh, you can't see it in the thing. I have 3 cases of Waterloo sparkling water over here. It's like I keep buying it and not getting through it fast enough, since my husband's actually started going back to the office because he was going through it super fast. But now that he's in the office a few days a week, they're starting to pile up, but they are delicious.
Yeah, what kind of pan? I remember you said earlier what kind of pan that was, but I don't remember.
Le Creuset.
There you go.
LECREUSET. They have outlet stores too, where you can get a little better price on them because they're not cheap, but they last. And this is one of their non-stick versions. And when I took my good stuff with us when we moved to New Zealand, but when we came back, I actually did purchase some non-stick pans to be able to use. Okay, I'm gonna grab my plate, which I am in the market for new plates because I only have 3. I want some really pretty modern white plates. And so if you guys have any recommendations on something that's kind of modern and basic, let me know, because I'm definitely shopping, because we have company coming in from Rhode Island this week and I cannot feed them on 3 plates when there's 4 of us.
One person gets the paper plate.
Well, I do have 4 of this size plate, but not big ones. But since this is a heavy cream sauce with pasta, I do like serving it on a small plate. And if I want seconds, I can get it.
There you go.
Big plate and filling it up. But I'm also the person who, when I go to get any kind of fast food, I only get the kids meal, so it's less calories. I'm just weird that way. It's like a big treat if I get a full Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Well, I have just found eating smaller amounts more frequent. Like my husband and I almost always share stuff when we go places, and I don't feel as full, so it feels better. But I'd rather eat like every 3 or 4 hours than I eat a big meal and then I just want to take a nap.
Oh yeah, it's that intuitive eating. Stop when you're elegantly full. Ooh, someone put in the West. I was wondering about West Elm. IKEA. I thought about IKEA because they are modern and they definitely need to be able to go into the dishwasher for sure. I'm not the kind of person, like, I belong to a life coaching program and I love it, but these people like post pictures of them drinking water out of crystal goblets, and maybe their mate comes more than every other week because I'm not washing crystal goblets every week.
No.
It's just not gonna happen.
Well, we always joke, all the facilitators, we all joke that Karen is the only one who can do the cooking social because none of us want you to see our kitchens. Because I don't want you seeing my kitchen.
Maybe when I move to San Francisco, I'll debut my kitchen in my apartment. It's pretty nice.
There we go.
Yeah,
oh, Lisa.
I'm in the Bay Area too, so mine is not super huge. My living room's not super huge because space is a premium in this area and it's expensive. Grab some microgreens here. Some people don't like the texture of like the little seed shells, so I'm gonna rip those off the bottom, but if they don't bother you, it's fine. I'm gonna sprinkle it up over the top and then
look how pretty.
There you go. There's my plate of pasta. And then let me grab, since I'm no longer cutting anything. Yeah, it's a Chenin Blanc with Viognier mix because I wanted something that's kind of acidic to be able to go along with it. Grab a wine glass.
I'm always impressed with people that know like what wine to drink with what. I'm always just like, I don't know, red.
I'm not gonna lie, I looked up, but I had a pretty good idea anyway. It's a hobby for me, wine pairings and such. And then if you're a Friends fan, I don't know if you can see it, the one with, so that's my wine glass. My dog walker bought them for me for Christmas, and I just absolutely adore them because once again, she knew that we don't have very many bowls and plates.
Nice.
And in a bid to be a little more environmentally friendly, I got these cute little guys from Etsy, like an Etsy shop. And I've been using them for my napkins and they wash really well. And I like that it has a pattern on it. So therefore you're not seeing the stains because the ones I had before were white. And even with bleaching over time, they didn't look good anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's funny. Julia says when she was in Portugal and would order dinner and wine, the servers would refuse me the wine I ordered and would bring me a better pairing. In a way, I felt so uncultured.
Oh my God.
I think I would just get to the point where I'd be like, what wine should I have with this? Because I don't know what to order.
My husband was talking about that. Like we've had quite a few people recommend going to Portugal as of recently. So he's like, we should go. And I'm like, okay, just need to renew it. I lost my passport and I need to get it fixed and I haven't done it yet. Okay, here we go. This is delicious. I mean, what's bad? There's nothing bad about it. It has really great quality produce, and who doesn't like butter and cream?
I was going to say, you can't go wrong with butter and cream.
No.
Because I would say, just to kind of like recap, you subbed out the chicken, you have mushrooms, chickpeas. Was there something else?
Or was the mushrooms and chickpeas are the only things I substituted out. I'm like going through knife suggestions. For me, I got mine at Williams-Sonoma. They're Westhoff, and I've had them almost 20 years. And I do get them sharpened professionally. Mine are dull; they need to be done again. But they come with a lifetime warranty, and our wooden handles split, even though you're not supposed to put them in the dishwasher. We do, and they replaced it without any issue. So, for me, spending money on knives is one of the best investments for cookware. Like good cookware, good knives, totally worth the money.
Oh, Laura said her speaker stopped working just as you were talking about the knives.
Westhoff. I went to Williams-Sonoma. I registered for them. They do have a lifetime warranty. So they will replace it for you if they are breaking down or whatever. And when you're looking for a knife, like one of the telltales of a cheap knife is if that steel, if that steel's not running all the way through. So this is a Japanese chef knife. And don't buy every knife out there. Like I have a cleaver that I've used maybe twice in my life, and I have a fish knife. I don't do a lot of fish either because I eat mostly vegetarian. So I wouldn't spend the money on those things, but things like this, a paring knife, even a tomato knife that's serrated and a bread knife will make your life so much easier. So yeah, Westhoff, they'll replace it when the handle breaks or whatever. So for me, that's totally worth the money.
Yeah, definitely. I saw Phyllis said that she has hers professionally sharpened every October at the local kitchen shop. So worth it. Yeah, that is huge with the knife sharp. I did get a set of knives for my husband a couple of Christmases ago and made sure it has kind of like the little sharpener that's in the wood blocks. And it's one of those things, sometimes I'll be trying to cut a tomato and you just smash it and you're like, oh, I guess I could sharpen this knife.
You ultimately you are supposed to hone your knives between every use.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to sharpen your own. Here, if you don't know what a honer is.
And so, yeah, I saw Joanna says knife skills class was a game changer.
I did that. I did one at Central Market in Austin. So you're doing this to be able to keep the blade even and sharp throughout. You are supposed to do this between every use. My husband does, I don't. And then you get them professionally sharpened. The ones that you buy for like sharpening yourself, most of them are wearing your blade down very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I figure they're not super expensive knives to begin with. So.
No, I mean, my knives are like $100 a piece. So fortunately I got them for my wedding, right? But it's like buy one every season or every holiday season and add to your collection as you know what you need.
I was just thinking like with this month, oops, who's barking? Uh-oh. Snickers didn't get any treats this time.
Well, because he had mushrooms, no. And then Petey needs to make his appearance too.
Oh yes, there's Petey. He hasn't been feeling too good, but he's doing better today. Hi, Petey.
He's a little old man. You can see he's blind. Snickers, you're just annoying. You're a bad dog. I love you, but you're a bad dog. He back talks like a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
He's like, Mom, you're not paying attention to me. I didn't get any vegetables this time.
I even took him on an 1.5-hour walk this morning and gave him new squeak toys, hoping that he would be quiet during the social.
He was mostly quiet.
Mostly quiet.
He just saw you come over there. And so he's like, wait, maybe Mom's done. She's eating.
I know. Usually he stands on the end of the couch. Hopefully next time we do the social, have y'all heard of like Havenly? Has anybody used that service?
Havenly, huh? What is that?
Come here. It is where you like take a quiz for your style and you pick up all like, they show you like 100 pictures and you're like, ooh, I like this one. Ooh, I like this one. And then you send them photos and the dimensions of your room. And then an interior designer does a markup of it. And I'm waiting on my final concept because all of this furniture is what we bought for our condo. So it's not really the best setting here, but we needed to sell the condo before we bought a bunch of new furniture. So hopefully it'll be all mid-century modern in here next month. Fingers crossed if things aren't on back order.
Nice. I would say, so speaking of that, our cooking social next month is a little bit later in the month. It's on June 25th. And it will be ginger chicken stir fry with summer squash. So we've got the chicken thing again. So we'll see what.
Tofu. I will be using tofu. Or seitan.
Nice.
Yeah, it should be a delicious one. So, do we want to talk a little bit about what we're doing about empowerment this month and be able to come on camera and have little conversations?
Yeah, I was thinking that might be a good idea because I was also thinking just kind of talking about. You're talking about like buying good pans and buying good knives and, getting them sharpened once a year and those kind of like, it's kind of like empowering yourself in the kitchen. Like, I don't know, sometimes I think you feel like I can't cook or I can't make anything in the kitchen. So you're like eating out all the time or you're just kind of buying, kind of food that's a little, I don't know, maybe not as nutritious as you would like, but I saw Kathy saying it's empowering to me to cook at all, right? And it is kind of empowering, right? But being able to feed yourself is and others, right? Because like I said, when When I met my husband, he thought it would be a good idea to woo me to learn how to cook. And so he cooks most all of our meals now. Do you have a question you want to ask folks, if you want to have them kind of come on? Or
I'm going to mute myself.
I'll say, yeah, the puppies are barking. So how's everybody doing? Does anybody want to, oh, did you hush him? Did you put him in the other room?
He's going downstairs right now. And so I muted myself while he had his temper tantrum. He is like a teenager. I don't know what else I can say, but yeah. Laura, I've tried HelloFresh. I use Purple Carrot because it is a vegan one. Not that I'm vegan, but it actually has more vegetables. And I've learned so many new techniques, and it is empowering to know what's in your food and what you're eating. And you're able to control this. Like, if I didn't want the calories from that delicious heavy cream, I could use whole milk, So you're able to do it. And that is very empowering for sure. Food allergy friendly. Evangeline, what type?
And so yeah, depending on the type of food allergy.
Definitely allergic
Definitely
to tropical and definitely allergic to tropical fruits.
So I know with Purple Carrot, plated, HelloFresh, and there's one other. I thought someone was like, the wind's blowing so hard, the door sounded like it was opening. I'm like, who's there? All of those give you options where you're able to choose the meals. So like they give you like 6 or 7 options, and then you can choose the ones that are. And
I think most of them, when you sign up, they'll ask you specifically if there's any like food allergies or specific things that you can't have or you don't want. So you can almost always do some settings in there to keep those ingredients out of your meals. But yeah, it's really not, because we've done the HelloFresh, Sunbasket. I really like Sunbasket. Has a lot of the more organic stuff, and they have some really nice ethnic foods in there.
I haven't tried that one. There's one Terra something, and I liked it because they would pick up the container, so there wasn't a bunch of waste.
Yeah.
And everything was already chopped up, but it was so expensive.
Yeah, Sunbasket is not cheap. It's like, I want to say it's probably runs around $95 for 3 meals for 2 people. So it's not super inexpensive. So we do that one infrequently. We had been doing the one, it's called Every Plate, which is a lot cheaper. It's probably like $40 for 3 meals that are for 2 people. But I've noticed the ingredients are not maybe as, it's cheaper, right? So the ingredients sometimes are not quite as the quality that I would like. I don't know. The Sunbasket stuff, the meat is super, super fresh, and the produce is super fresh, and the Every Plate isn't super produce heavy. It's much more of like a meat and potatoes kind of, again, inexpensive. That's the unfortunate thing, is it can be a little overwhelming price wise to try to get more organic or the higher quality stuff.
I think, excuse me.
Yeah, even the Purple Carrot isn't organic. Some of it is, some of it's not. And they're raising their prices. It was about $74 for 3 meals for 2 people. But because of food prices, they're raising their prices. And so I'm trying, because I do use the imperfects. And like I said, you put it in Google search. I have asparagus, soba noodles, and tahini. What can I make with this? And I can put a meal together for like $5 or $6 versus $24. But, you got to be prepped. You got to have pantry items that are ready and available, produce that's going to be there, all of those things.
I haven't heard of Modify Health. I haven't heard of that one. But yeah, a lot of those services have like, discounts for the first meal or something. So when you kind of go out there and look, you can find some good deals and to at least try it. Or,
I have a million Purple Carrot codes. Find me on Facebook, message me if you want to try a free one. You just have to remember to cancel it with your credit card before.
Yeah, otherwise, that's the trick. I always, when I do anything like that, where you get like a free something in the beginning, but you have to cancel by a certain time, I put a reminder in my phone to pop up to tell me cancel whatever it is, because goodness knows I won't remember. And they're not going to remind you, right? Because they want you to keep getting the stuff.
Yeah, having food, Evangeline, I'm with you. Having food delivered is a game changer. I realized that my schedule was so packed that literally only one day a week did I have a 15-minute window to be able to stop for coffee. I've slowed my schedule down by quitting one of the 3 jobs, but I get it. And having that stuff delivered is awesome. It makes such a difference because it's the time of shopping, the energy of shopping, all of those things. I mean, it's definitely. Oh, Carolyn, was that the purple carrot one? I'm curious because they had one of those and it was, I don't know what I did wrong. It was disgusting. I had to throw it away. I've had to do that with.
And it was really, really good. And now I think they send you the neat little recipe cards on their own, so I can go to the store and make it again.
So that's a nice thing too, is when they send you, like you have the recipe card and it's something you can actually, it's stuff you can actually find. Because I mean, some of that stuff in those meal kits are kind of unusual ingredients sometimes that are kind of a pain, especially the spices. Like sometimes I'm like, the spices they want you to, and the nice thing is that they give you like those little packets that are just good for that meal. But then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go buy a giant bottle of this to make because I don't know that it's going to.
And a lot of times it'll just be a spice blend and they don't even tell you what kind of spices they are.
Right. They're tricky. They're tricky that way.
Yeah, I have a cocktail making class that we get. It's called Spirit Guides, and they ship you everything, and then they Zoom like this, and they give you the history of the drink, which I really want to make mint juleps tonight for the Kentucky Derby because we did that one last year. But that's the issue is like they send you these like little bottles of concoctions that they've made, and I'm not gonna reduce plum wine with lemongrass, ginger, and and then infuse my gin with jasmine leaves. So it's like most of the time I can't remake the drinks.
Yeah, so it's just one of those where you have to be like, okay, this is a one and done kind of fun thing, and I'm not gonna make myself crazy trying to do. I like that idea though. I'm surprised more of the food box places don't do like these Zoom kind of calls to get people. I mean, this would be a great opportunity to like, here's our 3 meals and here we'll have a Zoom class and we can cook it together kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be smart marketing on their part for sure. So how is everybody doing with spirit guides, like your guide through, as your, there was one, they were Halloween and one of them was dressed as a monk, and I will never get it out of my head because the guy, he was so drunk, and it was only that one time. I don't know what was going on, but the guy hosting is all like, if you're going to throw up, get out of here. I was just like, oh my God. But in general, they're really very professional and a good time. The drunk monk.
Karen.
My God. I'm good.
You can be okay.
I won't die, I promise. It's the heavy cream and the cheese.
Yeah.
My body doesn't like it.
I was there, Candy's like, maybe you got a chili flake going in there.
I have acid reflux, so that's why I eat vegan most of the time. And all the heavy cream and stuff, it's hard.
Yeah, you just need to drink more wine.
I know. It fixes everything. I don't know how that happens. Yeah, it's kind of crazy being asthmatic. I've gone off all my medications and just altered my diet, and it's made a huge difference. But how is everybody doing with their empowerment? Is there anything that you've done that you felt like you're going to be empowered? Malika and I were on a dress rehearsal for tomorrow's weekly setup, and I actually got out of my joggers and put on real clothes. I don't normally do that. So that was something that I felt very empowered by doing.
You look great, Karen.
Well, there you go. I actually put makeup on and such. It's definitely, ooh, Evangeline, I want to know about your inner rebel. And if you guys want to come on camera, that's the nice thing about this one. We can be able to get you, if you want to raise your hand, we can release it. But if you don't feel comfortable because you're in your PJs or whatever, you can put it in the chat too.
So, little background, I work as a pharmacy technician, very busy pharmacy, and all week we have been having call outs. And the other day it was down to 4 technicians, 1 pharmacist.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And just that morning I had listened to Inner Rebel before going to work. I'm sorry, I have to laugh about it now, because if you were a fly on the wall watching us all day, you would understand. But I had a patient, they wanted us to hurry up and fill their C2, Schedule 2 controlled substance. And I asked my pharmacist said it would be about half an hour, because only the pharmacist can fill it. And I let them know it would be about half an hour. Well, why? Like, because my pharmacist is the only one that can fill it. There's other medications she has to fill. I went down the whole laundry list. Well, make her fill ours first.
Oh, people are so special, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. And mind you, my store manager has come back. She left for the day. She came back to help out. I've got another manager right behind me, and I heard him kind of like gasp, like, "Oh dear God, no!" And I looked there, and I'm like, I felt like, well, the world doesn't revolve around you. You're going to have to wait. Like, yep, Dinner Rebel just came out.
Some people need to be put in their place sometimes, and you know what? I think it's good.
And my store manager kind of snorted. She's like, "Well, who do you think you are?" I'm like, "I'm the one telling you you're going to have to wait half an hour, because there's other people that were waiting before you, and I'm not going to tell them they have to wait because you think you're special. So go sit down, wait half an hour, and then if you're lucky, it will be ready." I went over, I put them, I told my pharmacist, they deserve to wait for 45 minutes. So my pharmacist is like, "What happened?" And meantime, the manager who was behind me is in the back room cracking up laughing. My store manager's running to see what all transpired. Yeah, they waited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably good.
Yeah, don't mess with us. So yeah, my Inner Rebel. Yeah.
Inner Rebel.
Inner Rebel got me in trouble.
Well, probably not that bad.
So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Carolyn says her husband helped cook, and that he gave it 2 thumbs up. And Phyllis says that she's applied for a new job interview, and she's hoping to get it by mid-June.
We'll cross our fingers for you, Phyllis.
Prompts.
Yeah, I was going to say, has everybody noticed on the app, there's the new way to get kind of the individualized prompts. When you hop on there, you can kind of answer a few questions, and then it gives you kind of that personalized, I think, is it still just in Android, or is it on?
It finally showed up on my iPhone.
Okay, so it is on the iPhone now too. But I will say, right, there's an algorithm that goes with this that gives you the prompt. And I noticed someone had posted in Sonder Club that they got a really weird prompt that didn't really seem to go with the choices that they had made. So if you get anything, like you pick, because at first it asks you, how are you feeling? Pick from any of the one below: sad, bored, excited, anxious, optimistic, angry, grateful, calm, confident, tired. I feel like I've checked tired every day. So I feel like I need to type in something else. So I picked optimistic, and I'm going to click continue, and then it says pick one or more. And then it's like anything on the top of your mind. So it can be like your career, finances, romance, personal growth, fun and leisure, social, home environment, emotional health, spiritual, physical health, other, or all, right? So I'm just going to click all. Sure, why not? And see what it gives me. So the prompt it gives me now is, what do people think about me? Is it accurate or wrong? So kind of a fun way to get a personalized prompt. And they are working on maybe making it so you can be like, I don't like that one, give me another one, right? Because some people are saying like, I don't like that. I don't really like that one. So, but any feedback that you have, if there's a weird prompt that you get from that journal, send an email to the hello@silkandsonder.com. Because again, like I said, they're still working on the algorithm. So kind of tell them, this is what I checked and this is what I got. And this is kind of weird, or I'd really like to see, I'd really like to be able to pick something else, or maybe there's a different emotion that you want to be able to pick, or a different area. So they're always kind of looking for feedback on that, because that is brand new. So hopefully folks are trying that.
Steph, I'm with you. I run out of pages too. So I've been putting some of them, including my daily rituals, on my weekly spread, just putting appointments in that top little section and then using the bottom half of it for that reason. Because yeah, and let them know you want more pages as we keep, you got journal prompts for your socials. You got your daily rituals. Now you have these journal prompts here. You need space, right? I need space, definitely. Julia says she's noticed herself empowering other people around me, which is making me feel so empowered. That's an awesome cycle. Julia, that's so cool. Like, can you give us an example? Do you want to come on camera? You can put it in chat if you don't want to.
Sure. Hi. I'm taking art classes, which is fun, but also scary. And I've noticed in a lot of my classes, people just putting themselves down, like, I don't know who I think I am, like, oh, this is fun, but what a waste of time. And I found myself being like, you're an artist. That's incredible. Like we were doing this assignment where we had to go out in public and sketch. And someone was like, I feel like someone's going to come up to me and be like, you're not an artist. What are you doing here? And I was like, oh, if you don't tell them you're not an artist, they're not going to know you're not an artist. You're amazing. And it's like, I don't know if anybody has read My Life in France by Julia Child, but yes, it's so good. She talks about how whenever she would make a bad meal, she would never apologize for it, because she said either one, it forces people to lie to you and tell you it's good, or two, it makes them aware that it's bad and they might not notice. And so that's just been my rule with art. If you don't tell people that it's bad art, they might not know it's bad art. So it's just been really fun to encourage people around me to not be intimidated. And by pretending that I'm not intimidated, it makes me feel less intimidated. So it's been a lot of fun.
It's kind of like the fake it till you make it kind of thing, right? I mean, it's like sometimes just doing the thing is actually the motivating and empowering piece that keeps you able to keep doing those things.
Yeah, I agree.
That's so cool. Oh, I love it.
Awesome.
And I love that you love that book. I read it years ago, but I think it may be time to revisit it. It's so good. Have you watched Julia on HBO yet?
No, I didn't know that was a thing, but I'm going to watch it tonight. I'm so excited.
It's so good. And it has, I'm really bad with actors' names, but the brother from Frasier is her husband, and he's so good. So good.
I'm really pumped. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, I've recommended it to some people who are very picky, and they seem to like it too. Steph says she's been working on reframing her mindset. I think I started working on that one from one of Maya's socials.
Yep, we've been doing some reframing and rephrasing and kind of coming up with the different, helping with that different mindset. So that's awesome. I love that. And that's the other thing too. Remember, like a lot of that stuff that we do in socials, it's not like you just have to finish it up in that hour and then you're done with it and you put it away. Like that's a great thing to come back to regularly, as throughout the month, and you can kind of work on some of those different pieces.
Anybody else doing anything that really made them feel empowered this month? And you can tell I'm scooting back. So when I get close, I can see the bags under my eyes. So I'm like, and I'm going to be empowered by moving my position for better lighting. No one else? Raise your hand, throw something in the chat. What about you, Maya? Besides cooking some delicious foods, what have you been doing to feel empowered this month?
What have I been doing? Well, I definitely, I've been trying to, I did so good during the pandemic with, like decent nutrition, and I was working out and stuff. And I don't know, I think I just got exhausted after like two years of this stuff. I work in a school district. And so, things have just been so intense, and we've had so much staff turnover, and I've had to start subbing, and like, I don't know, it was just one of those, like, I felt really worn down. So like I haven't been doing much for movement. I've been kind of eating random, like cheese and crackers are like have become my main meal. So it's like I've been empowering myself to be more like, I'm gonna move my body. I'm gonna eat. Like today, I told my husband, I came back, I went and got a massage, which was amazing. And told my husband, I was like, I need some vegetables. I need to put some vegetables in. So we went out and I got a nice salad. So sometimes just empowering, like, I'm gonna spend time and I'm gonna get this, or I'm gonna eat this, or do this, or move, has been really, really helpful. And it's definitely makes you feel a lot better, a lot more empowered.
I love that. I mean, I'm all about the vegetables and the movement because that's what I live for. So yeah. And then now I'm going to put Malika on the spot, since if you've not been in one of her socials, tomorrow evening, she's hosting the weekly. And yes, her last name does look familiar. I wonder why that is.
Maybe it's my sister who performs all those daily rituals for us. But yeah, I think something that I've done recently, I guess not specifically this month, I started it maybe a week ago, but I started therapy for the first time. And I think it's really exciting because I do feel a lot more empowered, and it's kind of scary because it's one thing being vulnerable with your friends or people you know. It's another when it's someone you don't really know so well. But I was surprised that I was so vulnerable, and it definitely made me feel a lot more in control of my life. And I think just hearing someone who is an expert who can guide me is just like incredible. So I think that's something that really empowered me. So I'm excited to kind of keep going. And I don't think there's anything in particular that like, spurred it. It was more like my new work offered it for free. So I was like, might as well. And I love it. So I love any resource that improves my mental wellness, empowers me. So I definitely use that Silk and Sonder journal every day for it. But
that's so awesome. Good for you.
Thank you.
I wish I would be going more frequently if our Kaiser insurance is bad. You can only get in once every 6 weeks or so. And then they told me I was mentally okay, so I didn't need it. So I wish my work was better at that as well.
Weird.
Because I've been in therapy since I was, 13. Because yeah, definitely. And it's such a wonderful thing if you haven't experienced it. It's wonderful. I'm so glad that you're doing that for yourself.
Oh, I love it. I wish I started it years ago.
Right.
I feel like way late to the party, and I wish I started it when I was like 18. So
and check out the chat. Everyone's like totally loving and supporting you in there for being vulnerable and sharing that.
Of course.
Amanda says that she's been learning how to garden. And Steph has been setting out her clothes the night before to make the mornings easier, and packed lunch meat, cheese, strawberries, cutie oranges, mini peppers on Sunday for the week's lunches. I really think meal prep is a big
oh my gosh, yes.
So I love this. This is wonderful. Is there anybody else who wants to be able to share how they've been empowered in chat or on camera before we close out for the afternoon or evening, depending where you are? I mean, for me, it's all about the clothes. My husband doesn't know it yet, but there's about to be 2 big boxes of clothes that are going to come in. Granted, I'm probably not going to keep all of them, because they're not all going to fit. But upgrading my wardrobe into something besides yoga pants is going to be huge for me, including like this top from Amazon for like $12. It doesn't have to be super expensive, I ordered from, what is it? SHEIN, like one of those really Shein. So we'll see. I mean, people seem to like it. We'll see. They have some really cute stuff. So they do. And then a bunch from Amazon. But I really, if you are looking to upgrade your wardrobe, find some people who are in your body style and type and your budget and follow them, and then see what it is that they're recommending that resonates with you. And I think that's one of the best things about like TikTok and Instagram is being able to do that. And I actually have I'm sure y'all have seen, or maybe depending on if you're on TikTok or not. I forget how they say it, like contouring with self tantoring. So I'm going to empower myself by trying that and being makeup free, but feeling like I'm all snatched through the cheekbones. So those are some ways that I'm feeling empowered this month.
I was going to say, and someone had put in the chat, Candy had said about, feeling good about how you look is empowering. And it's not a vanity thing. It's not you shouldn't feel bad about that. Like feeling good in your clothes that fit, clothes that feel comfortable, clothes that make you feel good. If you want to wear makeup, wearing makeup. If you want to get away from that, getting away from that, having more of, something else, but just so important to do things that make you feel good because you feel so much more empowered, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it is. And I think if someone shared in one of my socials recently that their daughter had given them kind of a glow up, and instead of like, oh, I'm not going to buy clothes until I lose that 5 pounds, or I'm not going to do this until I do A, B, and C, and just meeting yourself where you are and doing those small things that make you feel good is really empowering. So I guess with that, we'll close out with some music.
All right, let's see. I am going to put, I'm going to put back up our, if I can figure out how to do this here really quickly.
Well, Phyllis, I'm so glad you were here for your very first cooking social.
So yeah, thank you all for joining us. I put up, there's a little QR code where you can take the survey, and you'll get that in your email as well. So you can tell us what you liked about the social, what you want to see more of. I mean, this cooking social and a lot of our socials really are driven by what our members want. So tell us, I wish there was more of this. I wish there was more of that. Hopefully everyone has the Sonder Club app that they've downloaded, but if not, you can scan on with that QR code and get connected there. And we do have, even though I forgot for the first few moments of this social, but the rest of it will be there, the YouTube link for our social recordings. So all of the socials, it sometimes takes a couple days for the recordings to be posted, especially the socials that are done over the weekend. But they will be there. But keep in mind that you have to use that link. You won't be able to search it. You won't be able to look on Silk and Saunders YouTube channel to find them, because these are just for our folks, for our subscribers. So like Malika's saying, take pictures of your dish, share it in the club, especially if you use some substitutions. Let us know what kinds of things you put in there. And otherwise, I hope everyone has a fabulous weekend, and we will see you again. Of course, there's another weekly setup social tomorrow that Malika and Karen are doing. So that will be super fun. So hopefully we will see you there. Now I have to find some music, and have a great weekend.
All she wanted was a bowl of pasta without anybody looking at her. So I asked her, baby, what's the matter with that? Sweatpants hair up on the sofa, swear down, yeah, that's how I know, yeah. She said that I look alright, I don't wanna go out tonight, so we can stay in and I can make you something. We ain't gotta dress up for nothing. Feet up with the TV on, and all she wanted was a bowl of pasta without anybody looking at her. So I asked her, baby, what's the matter with that? She said, I know it's stupid, but it's complicated. There's been a lot of pressure on me lately to wake up every day and look amazing. So I said, you're the prettiest thing in the world. Look at what we've done to the girl. Why you always scrolling through your phone? Only comfortable when we're on our own. Why you gotta care what people think? Gotta make your own rules, do your own thing. Wish she knew all the good she got, instead of trying to be someone she's not. Yeah, cause all she wanted was a bowl of pasta without anybody looking at her. So I asked her, baby, what's the matter with that? She said, I know it's stupid, but it's complicated. There's been a lot of pressure on me lately to wake up every day and look amazing. change, don't you change, no. So be who you wanna be, 'cause you're everything you need. You're everything to me, oh. All she wanted was a bowl of pasta without anybody looking at her. So I asked her, baby, what's the matter with that? She said, I know it's stupid, but it's complicated. There's been a lot of pressure on me lately to wake up every day and look amazing. So I said, you're the prettiest